Today I was reflecting about myself and I was thinking, I don't think that I am as outgoing, outspoken, talkative as I really may portray myself to be on my social media platforms. Rather, I think that it's a combination of both, reserved and outgoing, talkative, and being just well responsive. Here's what I mean by that. In the beginning of my channel, I started a series known as Character Development. If you're here for the first time, you can go back in the very beginning of my videos, and these are shorts that I posted where I really wanted to develop my character. If I can say, I really wanted to come outside of my comfort zone. I don't really use that word anymore because I've really done the coming out of my comfort zone. So that's no longer a terminology that I use to refer to any of the development that I'm going in forward with now. Instead, I've been working on developing a good balance of both being reserved and then also outspoken, outgoing, talkative, whatever the words you really want to say and name about that. I wanted to do that because I realized that you can go into the mode where you're overly outgoing. What do I mean by overly outgoing? It's not a bad thing, okay? I'm not bashing the personality of being overly outgoing. Instead, being outgoing can come with there's a level of discipline that needs to be there to where you can also learn how to be reserved. Or better word for reserved, if you don't really like that word, the discipline is applied to where you know how to have a good balance of emotional intelligence. And here's why I really have made this entire series that I have about character development, which I did not know going into it how far I would really go. But I started to notice that the more that I would continue to practice this work about myself, the more that I would become, if I can say, mature. Yes, absolutely. I am becoming a bit more mature with the way that I use my language now. I'm actually thinking ahead of what words to always use in conversations. I'm actually thinking ahead of how I can create conversations because of past experiences of how I worked on creating conversations, throwing myself in the fire, learning how to be that outgoing and coming outside of my comfort zone, right? Going back in the beginning. And because I've done that work now, that experience, which is very little, because I do consider myself a novice when it comes to the journalistic approach that I really am going for, and that I really love for the work that I love to do when I travel outside in all of the different places around the world. So that work has allowed me now to notice that, okay, now there requires a little bit of discipline with being outgoing, wanting to, as a child, you want to touch everything. Put your hand in a cookie jar and grab everything that you see. So me coming outside of my comfort zone gave me such a boost of confidence, so much so that I wanted to talk about everything. And you might look at me and say, what? Yes, I wanted to talk about everything with everybody. It didn't matter who you are. It didn't matter who you were. Whenever I go to different places outside the country, when I was in Japan, I just wanted to talk to everybody. I wanted to just have a dialogue and conversation because I wanted to feed that confidence that was gained due to me putting in the efforts of what I wanted to see in the beginning, coming outside of my comfort zone and just being comfortable socially with people in public settings and just with myself alone. The level of confidence that I'm talking about is what allows me to turn on this camera now. That level of confidence that I built in the beginning allows me to put the camera and set it up and talk to you that is watching. What do you mean by the level of confidence? Yes, it requires a level of confidence, believe it or not, to set up a camera and turn on the record button, knowing that I'm going to post later on and that you're going to see this and watch this video, even though I'm filming this in real time and I'm speaking to the camera. That requires a level of confidence. So that level of confidence, where does it start? Where does it begin? And that goes back into the effort that I put in the very beginning, coming outside of my comfort zone and speaking to people. Speaking to people allows me to speak to the camera because I learned that there is no fear to be had. I don't need to have any fear when I speak to other people. They're just like me. right? In the very beginning, I got rid of all that fear. Oh, these people are just like me. Even if I ask a question that may not even be on subject by accident, or I thought it was a good question and embarrassment may come, I already got rid of that. And I'm still getting rid of that because I still love to still talk. So I may ask questions that may not be relevant, but the thing that I want to highlight here is that it brought confidence. Learning how to not be afraid of humiliation in public settings. I don't mean being an idiot. I mean asking any question that comes to mind when I have the curiosity to learn something from what I see. I am very curious and I want to ask a question when I want to ask a question, even if that question may sound irrelevant. So I've learned how to cope with the embarrassment in public settings, or even just in a one-on-one conversation with someone that may be in a higher career path than me. Still ask questions. I want to know some things about the experience that that person has had in their career path. I want to learn because I'm on a roadmap of learning. I love to learn, and learning increases intelligence. So if I can go back to the very beginning, when I mentioned the level of discipline that needs to be had, that I noticed that I wanted in myself. And all of this is me talking about the progress that I am seeing in myself and that I want to continue to progress. And I'm giving you and sharing that information with you because one thing that actually is a conversation that I have with a lot of people when I go to different places around the world, strangers or people that know me, that I meet, they tell me about this, about them wanting to no longer be shy, or that they were once shy, or that they are shy now, which prevents them from taking a step further into trying an interest that they have, whether it be picking up the camera or filming themselves in front of the camera or speaking to a public audience. And I actually have this conversation very often. So this is why I'm making this video, and I decided that what better way than to have someone like me not being afraid to share and give you this entire journey that I'm taking. And believe me, we have a long way to go. Stay tuned because this is going to be quite fun. But sharing my journey that I'm taking to progress in my character development. This is all the foundation that I created this entire really kind of YouTube platform on, developing my character and all these different subjects that I mentioned earlier on. So now we move forward into the discipline that I want to see in myself, right? I'm trying to lay this out in a really good chronological order of my development so that you can put yourself in my shoes. And maybe you may already be ahead of me. And if you are, I want you to be ahead of me. That's great. I want everyone to win. I want everyone to be successful in developing their own character, right? I want you to be better than me. And if you find yourself putting yourself in my shoes, and you may be a little bit behind in some of the development based on how I'm organizing my journey, then hey, let this be an encouragement. I hope it is an encouragement that much of continuous development that you may be seeking for yourself, because we all want and should want to get better every year. We want to see some growth in ourselves every year in any aspect of life. Any aspect of life. And believe me, developing your character will affect, it's like a family tree. It will affect something else. Either financial stability, emotional stability is in there. But when you think of other things, even managing your bills, budgeting, or let's see, being a clean person when it comes to how clean is your home. That is all related to character development, because when you develop your character, now you prioritize. You have a level of prioritization about yourself because you've created this whole agenda about who you want to be in a really strong way. So I'm really laying this out all in the best way that I can. And if I'm missing anything, then hopefully I get better and continue to lay it out video by video. continuing on, the discipline that I wanted to see in myself now, because like I mentioned, wanted to touch everything, wanted to talk about everything with everyone, and I've done that. I've done that. I've been in that, if I can so call it, season. I've been in that season where I developed so much that I wanted to speak about everything. I would read articles and just talk to people about articles that I read of their country, just because I wanted to spark up a conversation. I've done it in India, I've done it in New Zealand, I've done it in Fiji, I've done it in many different places. And so then I've noticed, you know what, David? Let's learn a good balance of both now. And so for quite some time now, I've been really wanting to develop a good balance of both, being knowing how to be outspoken. Outspoken is very important. Knowing how to be outspoken, talkative, outgoing when you need to, and show personality, show identity. Those are traits that you should be very confident in knowing how to show them and when to show them, because you always want to show people who you are. If I say always, but you essentially at least want to have a level of confidence when you're not afraid to show people who you are. Hey, this is me. This is me, and this is how much I've developed, and I can't fake it. I can't be anybody else. I am who I am. I am a reflection of the development I have in my life, at my age, at the moment that I'm at now. If you're confident to show that, you should be confident to show that. And not being afraid of the judgment that people may have against that. Against that, even if your development is low. Let's say your development is low, and you don't really know how to form dialogues properly. Well, use the level that you have now when you do speak and form dialogues to form dialogues anyways. Just keep talking. Keep going and trying to find someone that is reasonable enough to make time with you to have dialogues. When you know yourself that you're not good at conversation, you know yourself you're not good at creating dialogues and interjecting with topics and interjecting with some information and factual data to add into the conversation that really spices it up and adds some good substance that leaves you both or the whole entire group knowing you just had a good dialogue. If you're not that person, who cares? You should care, though. You should care about knowing and reflecting about where you are and putting yourself in a position, if you are willing to, want to get better. And how do you get better? We go back a little bit into finding that time to put yourself in the fire, essentially, like I say, and create those conversations. And if that person, may look at you and say, and think to themselves, man, this person doesn't know how to have a conversation or communication. Well, guess what? You at least took the chance and that you had to try to develop yourself, to not being afraid to showcase your flaw. If it is a flaw according to others, to showcase that. That's who you are. And you shouldn't really be afraid to showcase who you are, like I mentioned before, your identity. Be who you are and not being someone else. For a long time now, I've been working on being who I am and not being anybody else. And it's been a fantastic, fun journey, I tell you. But let me get back on track now, because, I'm going everywhere and is many different places, and forgive me, but I like to try to address as many different personalities of people as I can while I can think of it, because I meet so many different personalities around the world. Spectacular personalities, talented people. Just by looking at them and having an initial conversation, because this is something I've practiced for a while, I see people that are so talented, that are so curious, but in the right ways. And it's such a good thing. So I always try to address as many people that can fit in the shoe when I speak, to just make this video very real and very raw, that you can't hear about from anybody else and just find online of people just being this real and raw and addressing you, right? Because this video is just to help and help me, but it's to help people and help others and help you. And I never want to feel like I'm gatekeeping anything. Yeah, I just don't want to. But anyways, let's go back in the first point of when I mentioned the discipline. Not that I don't like when I can manage to show vulnerability. I love it when I can manage to show vulnerability to people. And when I mean vulnerability, just give a little bit of information about myself that I don't mind sharing and for other people to know. That if other people run with it and tell other people, I don't mind sharing that. I'm not offended if you share that. That's a level of vulnerability that I love to have. And I've gotten to love to do that because it makes me more real, more raw, more authentic, and more appealing to the audience of whoever I'm speaking with. It makes you more human. And people can identify with human because, well, we're human, right? Learning how to be human with one another. That's the best form of authenticity there is, man. When you can learn how to be human with other people, you're authentic. I mean, you can appeal to many people. You can appeal to many people because people want to have a conversation with someone who's just real, genuine, and just human. But the discipline now comes where I also have to learn to be reserved. I really do. I have to learn to be reserved. And this is nothing negative that I notice about myself. This is just something that I want to have a good balance of because I want my maturity level to also be tied with a really stable emotional intelligence. Knowing when not to ask questions, knowing who not to ask questions to, because I made that mistake in the past, knowing and seeing and reading the person of when they are not ready to hear the question that you're willing to ask. Now that comes with a level of being able to understand and read the behavior. Yes, you can say that psychologically. Maybe we can add that in there, but also, that intelligence, and also discipline, because I have to now sort of retract that outgoing personality that I developed all of a sudden and just spiked it up and and ran with it. So now I have to sort of retract and build up my foundation now on a really stable ground. And learning how to be reserved. And by reserved, I don't mean being quiet. I don't mean being quiet to where I come in a room and I don't speak. Maybe that's a little part of it, a tiny percentage of it, yes. But more so of from the exterior, the demeanor is different. The demeanor shows maturity. And many of you might say, well, David, your demeanor on the outside already looks like you're very mature. Well, according to what I know and I think about David, there's a little bit of progress that I want to see in myself there. The demeanor about myself on the exterior, facial expression, and the curiosity. The curiosity can be seen on the outside too. And I noticed that about myself. Self-reflection is very good. But I noticed the curiosity that I have, even though I'm able to suppress it by stopping to ask questions or the wrong questions or whatever it is. But the curiosity can be seen on the outside, either through a smile, either through hand gestures, either through eye contact, just some of the body posture and words. When I have a conversation, the curiosity can be initiated, beg your pardon, initiated subconsciously because of how long I've been running now with the confidence of being outgoing, outspoken, and just talkative. So these are just things I have to watch out for, and hence why I use the word reserved. I think reserved is a pretty safe word to use. To describe the level of balance that I really want to have going forward. And so that's just a little bit of the self-reflection that I have as of today, 2026. We're still here building our character, developing our character, becoming and learning to become a better version of ourselves, but not just a better version of ourselves, embracing the identity and the person that we are. We want to embrace that. The character development is supposed to bring that out of you. And it brought it out of me, for sure. The identity that I carried as a child, the curiosity that I carried as a child, who I am as a child that even my parents know and have seen. Some of it wasn't there anymore. Some of it was gone. As I became a teenager and became an adult and entered into the work field and entered into getting myself in some of the responsibilities that I have, some of it was gone. And this is why the character development is very important, because it can help you trace back those qualities, abilities, personality traits that you had as a child. And I mentioned childhood because when you're a child, there's many things that you're innocent to. A lot of your personality comes out. Children ask a lot of questions. Children loves to ask questions. When I was in Fiji, those that were teenagers and they were in their school clothing, I mean, I made a video that did a lot of numbers on views on the Meta platform, Instagram and Facebook. And I had my camera, and all I did was have my camera. And I went there, and they surrounded me. They swarmed around me and making some sounds like, whoa, when I was taking a photo, and take photo of me, take photo of me. What is this? What is this? And that was in Fiji. And I noticed that there's a beauty in innocence of personality. When you keep that personality that you have, many of those characteristics and traits are inherited and still carried over from childhood, combined with what your childhood is like, the experiences you have in your childhood, so on and so forth. And so I noticed myself, and I reflected, and I saw that a lot was gone or not brought out as I became more of an adult, as the years continued. And so I decided to work on getting some of that back. And this is what it is. This is me, man. This is me, what I was in the innocence of my childhood. And I'm now confident to know who I am, embrace me, embrace what it is about me that makes me me, and see how it becomes now a blessing, not just to myself, but I have to say, to other people. The more that I continue to be myself, and the more that I continue to bring out those abilities and qualities that have just been embedded in me, that have been formed and fashioned in me. And that's one of the most important key words, sentences I want you to remember in this video. That you can be a help to others. And I love being a help to others. But you can be a help to others just by being yourself. And if being a help to others isn't encouraging at all, okay, well, think about how you can be a help to yourself by being you. Because now you're no longer chasing any other personality. You're chasing the one you already have. And embrace it. Learn of it. Embrace it. Get to know about it, if it's right. And I won't go into that. But learn of it and develop it. Because you'll need it, and other people may just depend on it. Whether you're a man or a woman. Like I always love to say, a man can't just have an effect on his family. A man can have a big impact on an entire community alone. Just one man. You just take one man, can have a whole impact on an entire community. I've seen it. Many of us have seen it. Many of us that are older by age have also seen it. How just through one man in the whole community, in the whole neighborhood, was an impact to the whole entire community, entire neighborhood, just because he was himself, because he embraced his qualities, his traits, and who he was, his strengths and weaknesses. One last thing that I'll finish off with is not to be afraid of showcasing your weaknesses, which I kind of already mentioned earlier on in the beginning, but your mistakes, don't be afraid. Embrace those. Your mistakes, your failures. If anybody happens to see your mistakes and wants to joke about them, who cares? Embrace the mistakes that you've made when you yourself are making the effort to progress in your character and develop yourself. Because I've made mistakes, I surely have, and I've embraced the mistakes that I've made instead of worrying about who has seen the mistakes that I've made. And then I'll make a video here and there, or even showing the mistakes and the failures that I have by showing you some of the bloopers when I tried to make a video and some of the retakes that I have to make over and over and over again just to make a simple video like this. I embrace that. You know why I embrace that? Because I know and I understand that the work that I put to develop now the comfortability that I have to be able to speak to the camera and speak to people, that took a lot of work that many people are not willing to take. Many people are not willing to take or continue to do and to develop even further and to not be complacent in life. So if you're able to manage to do the effort and continue to have the will to develop, well, embrace the mistakes. And on that note, I will finish off with this video. If you're new in this video for the first time, I would highly suggest that you go ahead and subscribe, like, share, and comment your thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts. Share your thoughts of what you have to say. Any major takeaways from this video. If you can relate, if you put yourself in the shoes of what I mentioned about the journey of character development and you developing your own character. I would love to know how you are taking the measures to develop your own character. Feel free to comment down below. And I'd love to read every single one of them as I possibly can. Outside of that, well, thank you everyone for supporting, and those of you that keep coming back and supporting this channel and continue to watch more of the content that I put out. Stay tuned because we hope to continue to put out more and more content for your liking. Other than that, see you in the next video. Peace.